been committed against white farmers.
How many white farmers? Hold on a second. How many white farmers have been murdered in
I don't
South
know.
Africa?
Several. I mean, they asked.
No. How many?
I don't know. Several.
I know why you don't know. Because those numbers don't exist broken down by race.
I mean, I know this. I wouldn't trust the South African government to tell me. I know that.
How many black farmers have been murdered in South Africa?
Look, you guys are so triggered over 59 people.
No, I'm not.
After we left 20 million people in the country. I don't know why you're so triggered.
Haven't even brought up the white people that Trump picked out because they were white and told them they could come to the country.
How much racial killing are you going to condone?
There are 19,000 murders in South Africa. 36 were on farms. 7 of the farmers were victims. Okay, this is according to the South African police.
And you think the South African government is a credible source?
The other 29, hold on a second. The 29 victims who were included in the farm killings were farm employees who tend to be black. So the vast majority of people killed on farms in South Africa are black. Where is the concern about them?
Some white people in the larger issue of farmers, in the larger issue of violence, have been part of this violence, but there is no...
Why are they trying to get out? Why are they, if there's no... Scott,
why
are they trying to leave?
The majority of...
Have you seen the video?
It is the height of racism to say that white people have to be exempted from all violence in any society. And that is what is being said here. If we cannot say...
Actual words, no,
I don't understand. You want them to stay, and I guess you want them to have violence committed against them. Does that make you happy?
Go ahead and comment, and then I'll let Sherman.
Violence against all people is wrong.
I agree with you.
There are 1.5 billion people that live in Africa.
Okay.
There are 63 million people that live in South Africa. Mm-hmm. There were 59 people that were extracted out of a continent of 1.5 billion people and brought to our country. And what color were those people? White.
So? And they're being targeted with violence.
That's incorrect.
There have been no farms taken from any white people yet.
Yeah. How
but
so?
the laws, do the laws not allow it?
Law, but
Gaslight alert.
Those who stuck around, thank you for your patience. This is an old clip back from March 2025 when Trump brought in the 59 white South Africans to America. And Democrats had a fit because they were white. Now, if they would have been, south of the border, it'd have been fine, but the fact they was white, everything that was said there is what Democrats say about migrants. Like, Scott was making the argument that Democrats make for migrants. They're suffering, they're going through this, they're going through that, and all the Democrats kept saying, well, you don't have numbers, this and that, there's other people. That's my argument. God, I'm getting it twisted out. Listen, I'm the one that's been arguing that all the issues that black Americans face are 100 times worse than what migrants face in this country. And for that, I get called a white nationalist. When people start talking about detention centers and foster care, families being split apart, I talk about the incarceration rates of black Americans. And I say, hey, we're 100 times for every one person, for every undocumented migrant that's killed in a prison, who died in the prison in 2025, 100 U.S. citizens have died. Now, when you consider we're three times more likely to be in prisons, black folks, it's highly likely that the number of black Americans far exceeds. So when I bring up these things, when it's about black Americans, I got black Americans who work for the Democratic Party calling me a white nationalist for doing it. But when Democrats do it to Scott Jennings to defend or to go after white South Africans, nobody says anything. It's fine. Is this making sense? When I bring up the fact that two white Americans were killed by ICE, which to me is a police organization. They're deputized, they're able to make arrests, they're able to carry out law enforcement duties. I know it's a little different, but they got handcuffs, they got a van, they're putting you in there, they're taking you to processing. That sounds like cops to me. Right? So what I'm saying is, if I can find a city in America that's mostly black, where only two black Americans died in the last 6 months, we throw Mardi Gras. We'd have a Mardi Gras, a fish fry, and free blue crabs with bay seasoning, and we'd all have free mambo wings for everybody, fried hard. If Memphis or Chicago or Baltimore had only 2 homicides, we'd all throw a parade. And Megan Thee Stallion and Glorilla could all show up and Cardi B come on in. That's all it took to get ICE out of Minneapolis. See, when I bring up these types of points, instead of going, yeah, I guess this math does add up, I don't like it. I'm pissed because I want to fight for migrants, but I guess he does have a point that blacks do catch hell. All of a sudden, we stop catching hell. And now the hell is being focused on, we're saying that the migrants are catching hell, but they're not catching hell. For every child whose parents are locked in the detention center, meaning children have to be separated from their parents and they may be in a foster care or a detention environment themselves, there are about, I don't know, maybe 10,000 or I don't know. Let's just take the one in Texas. There's one in Texas that's very famous. Recently, they reached a record number of 500 underage, 500 children were in this facility. And turns out this facility was understaffed. They didn't have the adequate food. They didn't have the best accommodations. It wasn't clean. It wasn't as sanitary as it should have been. It wasn't run properly. It was overcrowded, and it showed, right? And kids were going through trauma because they're already separated from their parents. It's jacked up. I heard Democrats talking about this, and I said, wow, let me look into it. I looked into it, and while I was looking into it, I couldn't help but compare it to our own foster care and detention center status of U.S. citizens. And you know what I found out? I found out in most cities, black children, like, take Seattle, Washington, black children in Seattle, Washington, 7 out of 10 children in foster care or detention centers are black. In Seattle, Washington, there are more black children in Seattle, Washington's detention centers, black children in Seattle, Washington's detention centers and foster care than all of the migrants in the United States, those children that are actually in detention centers or foster care. But you know what I keep hearing them say? We have to do something about these children. These children are suffering. They never tell you how many people we're talking about. The number of 500 dropped to 100 in that one facility. You never hear them say numbers because the numbers will not let you gaslight. See, once we start looking at the numbers, we realize we're not talking about a lot of people. This is the same argument they're making to Scott. But when I make it about black folks compared to migrants, because they keep gaslighting about how bad they got it, I say, you know what, this is a good opportunity to highlight black people that are being ignored. See, very quietly, while Jasmine Crockett was complaining about the plight of migrants who just wanted to pick fruit and make hotel beds, there were black folks being over-policed. There are black folks who are being apprehended by cops. It's called jump outs. They come in plain clothes. They jump out of vehicles. They have masks on. They don't tell you who they are, so they get you locked up. I mean, this has been a thing since the crack era. It never stopped. But suddenly now, it's a major problem. It's a challenge of our democracy. Only because it's affected somebody besides black Americans, because when it's happened to black Americans, it's just another shitty Wednesday. In fact, it's not even so shitty. It's just considered just another Wednesday. See, everything that Scott Jennings said, and I disagreed with it, they had a good point. I disagree with Scott. Scott was gaslighting, just like the Democrats do. I've been saying this for a long time, and I'm going to stick to it, and I've been yet to be proven wrong. Everything Democrats complain about Republicans doing, they already did it, and sometimes more often. And I mean everything. So while I'm fighting for black Americans who are at the bottom, and there's not a person who can legitimately say that can legitimately say that I'm wrong when I say black people on the bottom in this country that we built for free without being compensated, and I'm advocating for them. I got the people that are supposed to be from the party that defend that going after me, all because I'm criticizing their treatment of the migrants and their focus on migrants and not focusing on black Americans. I have black Democrats attacking me for standing up for black folks. And somehow they try to make it a Trump thing because they can't do anything else. Yeah. What else can you say? For every one migrant who's died in 2025 in police custody, nearly 200 Americans died in Texas prisons. Jasmine Crocker ran a whole damn campaign complaining about migrants being in jail. But in her own state, she was the talking addressing the high in-rate mortality rate in her own state. What I'm trying to tell you is more black Americans, more Americans, I don't know about black, more Americans died in Texas prisons than all of the undocumented immigrants died in the country in 2025. And I've been hearing nothing but Democrats complain and gaslight. They will put Scott Jennings to shame. See, when I point these things out, sometimes I just got to have an example. In this segment, though what's a year old? This is an older segment, but it's exactly what I'm talking about. Democrats know what gaslighting is. They know when someone's trying to distract from the real problem. Scott Jennings is talking about the death of 30 people compared to thousands of Africans, black Africans in Africa, South Africa. 30 confirmed deaths of white farmers. Sounds a whole lot like what's happening to black folks and U.S. citizens in America compared to undocumented people. But all of a sudden, when it's flipped and when I bring that up, nobody can understand it. To them, I'm talking Wakandan. I don't know. I don't know what language. But I hope you understand it. Hope you understand it, but not only understand it, I hope you feel where I'm coming from. I hope you understand, you see my point. You understand why when I get a little spirited, when I get a little on one, hope you see what it is. See, when you know these things, when you know numbers, when you know about the mass incarceration, when you know about the child detention centers, when you know about these issues, and you got a party lying in your face and using black people to do it. And then they're attacking you for pointing out what they want to ignore, for you highlighting the same people they say they care about. Then you become their target. See? So yeah, I disagree with Scott Jennings, but you know who I disagree with more? The Democratic Party. Because it ain't just Scott. It ain't just one person. It's a whole party with the marching orders to all do the same thing. Push the migrant crisis like it's on par with black pain and suffering. And folks, we need to make sure they stop using black suffering to help everyone else except us. Because that's exactly what the Democrats have done. They've co-opted our black pain and suffering for the use of the LGBTQ community, and now it's for the migrant community. When it was LGBTQ, then it was trans, and now it's migrants. I don't know who it's going to be next week. Squirrels. They gotta pick something. Can't let that black pain go to waste. See, these squirrels couldn't cross the street. Squirrel lives matter too. They had some late 20s, early 30s white girl with purple and green hair shaming a bald black man in his 50s for standing on business for black Americans, calling him a racist and a sellout a time. Hit the like button if this segment made sense to you. Oh, man, I do my best to try to get through it, man. Look, it's my job to come up with unique ways to say the same thing over and over again. And luckily, the Democrats keep on helping me. Thank you, Democrats. Thank you, Charles Blow, for proving my point. And thank you, Scott Jennings. You played your role as well. An assist by Scott proves my point. All right, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, become a member of the Tim Black Show by going to jointimblack.com. That's on Patreon. You can also join us on Facebook and X, even X, man. Yeah, I'm still on X.
Catch Tim Black live on the most dangerous show in America, Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. Don't miss out on the real. Stay dangerous.